Everyone, and welcome to Chat with Dr. Ted. This is a series of chats with Dr. Ted Lowe, who is based in Toronto, Canada, and he's been practicing for over 40 years in the community. And he hopes that he can share his expertise and experience with us. So, Dr. Led, to start you off, how are you doing today?
Oh, before I answer that, I'll tell you my reaction to that statement, which is something I never ask my patients. Because you see, this is such a customary greeting that when people ask that, I think very few of them truly mean to know what you are thinking, what you're feeling. And if you should respond with your true feeling inside, I don't think they know what to do with it. So I believe that such genuine conversation is so rare in everyday hustle bustle of our lives. So that makes our psychotherapy session so special. Because there you have one person dedicated his attention to you, trying to understand and connect with you, and then truly help you. So I have really been privileged to have done this for so many years with so many people. Many of them, and most of them actually come in and with a willingness to share. And then I can learn from them all the challenges they meet and how they have tried to cope with it and explore their thinking and feelings so that I can help them, go to the goal they want to get to. So it's a rare opportunities, and that is why I hope that I can share some of these learnings in this series.
Right, and that's very important to be aware of the questions that we ask, and you hear it every day when we pass strangers, when you greet your neighbors. We always start the day of "How are you doing?" or "How are you?" Unaware of what door we're trying to open up to strangers or to our neighbors. So I think this is a very interesting perspective that I haven't really recognized. As a young therapist myself, just entering into the profession, when I do ask that question, I think I am curious about people's stories, curious about everyone's narratives, which probably is not, not a good, setting the boundaries is important. And so it's really a pleasure to be in this field, to be in, to be a psychotherapist, walking along with clients, walking along with their stories and letting them know that there is someone to kind of walk with them through their journeys and adventures. So you mentioned, we mentioned earlier that this is a series of chats. So I'm very curious, Dr. Ted, why don't you let our audience know what are the topics we're going to be talking about?
Well, actually, I'll tell you how I started to have this idea of creating this series. Actually, I started to have this idea of developing this series was because with the pandemic, my workload was increased. And there are lots of times when these topics come up that I feel I have not devoted enough time with the patients to help them explore these ideas and talk about ways to address it. So I thought if I have it on YouTube, maybe I can direct them to watch these YouTubes, and so that they can get further into this topic. Okay, so these are common topics that came up. So would you like me to mention the first three we are preparing?
Yes, please, Dr. Ted, let us know what you've got in stock.
The first one, of course, is the major impact of the pandemic in all of our lives. And in fact, there are so many people with developmental health issues, and they actually have difficulty coping with it. But this is only just one of the life challenges, a major one, I would say. But we will be having different challenges in our life. And this gives us an opportunity, actually, to reflect on how we address challenges like this. So that would be the first topic is reflections from the pandemic.
Absolutely. And everyone has been shocked by this pandemic. It's changed all our lives, it individually, collectively. So I think it's important to hear in and listen in to instead of moaning and groaning and complaining and shutting down, what are sort of discovering ways into facing up to it, encountering it, looking at it eye to eye, challenges alike, and to grow from it. Having that growth mindset is so important for us to keep on going, to keep on surviving. So I'm very excited to hear in on that one. What are the other topics that you mentioned? You're going to mention?
The second one is something I call insomnophobia. That is a term I made up. What do you think it means?
Insomnophobia, insomnia, something about insomnia. Dr. Ted,
Yeah.
what's this about?
Insomnia, actually, the complaint about not sleeping is one of the commonest complaint among other symptoms. And so, um, when you do have that, one of the very common phenomenon is what I call insomnophobia, is that you get to develop a fear of not sleeping. And that becomes a major factor in your not improving from the insomnia.
Mm. So this will be very interesting. I've definitely had nights where I think I've experienced this myself, but maybe not to a point where it prevents me from sleeping every night. But I've definitely had nights where I couldn't sleep. There was that heart racing and fear of, that frustration of not being able to sleep. And I've definitely heard it in some clients. So this will be an interesting way to understand insomnophobia, this new term that I'm learning today. And we're looking forward to hearing what strategies and what even it is.
Yeah, that would be one. And then the third one I would like to explore would be uh, the idea of the present moment. Now, this is a term that's developed in relationship to mindfulness, which is getting very popular in the West. It's particularly through the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a very, very prominent Buddhist monk from Vietnam that are living in Paris. And I really encourage all of you to really follow his teaching. Unfortunately, he just passed away, but his teaching is everywhere because he's written so many books and there are YouTube videos and other things that you can look into. However, what I try to do is to use this concept to address everyday mental health issue and also share with the the learning I have got from it.
Mm-hmm. And on top of the books, on top of the YouTube videos, I'm sure we will definitely be learning through you about mindfulness and the present moment. A lot of the times, mental health issues and struggles, it drags us away from the present and pulls us into the future or pulls us back into the past. And unfortunately, takes away the gift of having the right here, right now, present moment. So, mindfulness isn't a foreign technique or a topic. It's something that, especially throughout the pandemic, we've been hearing around on the news or in the media. So it's going to be very interesting to see this perspective of mindfulness and what the teachings you've taken into account and share with our viewers.
You mentioned a very important idea that actually present is a present, right?
Yes.
It's a present to all of us that
Mhm.
we can enjoy receiving. So that would be the third topic. And we'll see how it goes.
Wonderful. So we have the first one, reflections from COVID. Another, the second one is going to be insomnophobia. And the third one is going to be present moment and mindfulness. So these are very important conversations, key reminders. And I definitely look forward to these conversations with you. It's a pleasure, Dr. Ted, to be able to be here with you today. I understand that you also intend to have other chats with other mental health professionals, as well as there will be chats in other languages, Cantonese and Mandarin. Um, you have also helped founded the Fook Mental Health association. This association has served the Asian population for not over 40 years, just 40 years right now. And I hope these chats in their own languages could help them understand more, could feel more like home for them. And I know that you would appreciate anyone by liking this video that they've been listening into. And if they could, to donate to the association to support the cause and the populations that they serve.
That would be so nice.
Thank you, Dr. Ted, for being here with us today. And we'll be looking forward to these chats of series that will be coming up. Thank you for tuning in, viewers, to Chats with Dr. Ted.